us for our food, for our nourishment, some scriptures say. So that's why he gave it to us. Now, we don't stick to his plan. He said, the seed-bearing plants. Now, man today has taken a fruit and they've hybridized it and modically grafted it where it's not even producing seeds. And it tells us in the Torah not to eat these foods that are hybridized, that are seedless. And we look at the difference between a watermelon that has its seeds and a watermelon without its seeds, and we look at the health benefits of those two. The health benefits of a watermelon with the seeds are tremendous. And it tells us in the scriptures we eat the food that has the seeds. But man, because they're so lazy and so disobedient, will say, no, I want to eat the one without the seed because it's easier, it's quicker, and so on. But we look at it, there's more sugar in those foods that contribute to our disease. There's less nutrients in those foods because they're hybridized and the nutrition is taken away. And we look at these seedless foods, they're not what they were meant to be. So we're not following his instructions and guidelines. Then we go and look at further. People say, well, in the scriptures it says we can eat meat. But even then he gave us instructions about meat. It says, if you choose to eat meat, there are clean meats to eat and there are non-clean meats to eat. Eat the clean meats if you choose to eat meat. It doesn't say we have to eat meat. It says if you choose to eat the meats. I tell people all the time, if you follow his plan and you stick to these guidelines that are from his word, you will be blessed. But if you get away from it, you will be cursed. People are not following his plan when it comes to fruits and vegetables, and they're not following his plan when it comes to meat. Now, don't get confused between the two, because there's a lot of confusion in Scripture about, can we eat meat, should we be vegetarian, and so on. I can tell you right now, you can do either one, because the Scripture says you can do either one, but whatever you decide to do, you got to stick to his plan. The other two things is we're not sticking to his plan as long as not sticking to his diet guidelines. But I can tell you this, can we be vegetarian? I myself am one, and I know many people that are vegetarians, and you can live on fruits and vegetables alone and be completely and perfectly healthy. I know people that are vegans for over 50 years and in the greatest of health because they're sticking to his plan. They're sticking to his words. However, I know vegetarians that are sick, not because they're eating fruits and vegetables, but because they're not sticking to his plan. Same thing when it comes to meat. I know people that eat meat who are healthy, and I know people who eat meat that are sick. It comes down to his guidelines and plans. But I can tell you what, why fruits and vegetables are superior to eat meat? Because fruits and vegetables were the original he gave us. And when he allowed us to eat meat, it wasn't a reward for our good behavior. It was a curse for our sin behavior. He allowed that to enter our lives. But he gave us the foods that we can eat, and he said, these are the meats you can eat. However, nobody can live on only meat. Nobody can live on just meat. We need fruits and vegetables in our lives. And we need the fresh, non-hybridized, non-modified, organic fruits and vegetables in our life to experience the health that he wants us to experience. Our bodies are so amazing. People think it's amazing that somebody can eat fruits and vegetables and get better from something like cancer. The real amazing thing about the human body is somebody can eat McDonald's and not get cancer. The human body is amazing and can last a tremendous amount of time. So eating a little meat isn't going to destroy us. And if we're following his plan, we're going to be fine. The problem is the other two things that we're going to talk about. Here's where the problem comes in. And by the way, again, he said, if you do choose to eat meat, these are the meats to eat, and these are the meats to avoid, but you don't have to eat meat. Now we look at what it says in Scripture. The other two things we went wrong when it comes to diet. The second thing, the first one is we don't stick to his plan. Has everyone got that? The second thing is, and probably even more we suffer from, is regardless of what you're eating, regardless of what plan you're sticking to, if you're eating fruits and vegetables, if you're eating meat, no matter what you're doing, it tells us in Scriptures not to overeat, to practice temperance, not to overeat. This is the big problem we've gotten away from sticking to his plan. We overeat. This is why vegetarians are getting sick. Not because they're eating fruits and vegetables, but because they're overeating on them. This is why meat eaters are getting sick. Not because they're eating meat, because they're overeating on it. It tells us not to overeat. It says in Proverbs 23:20, do not carouse with drunkards or feast with gluttons. Not only does it tell us not to overeat, it even tells us not to eat with people that overeat.
That's right.
Because guess what we do when we eat with people that overeat? We overeat. See, the human body, we don't need a lot of food when we're eating good quality food. We need very little. Very small amounts of food. But here's where all the excuses come in. Some people say, well, it's too much money to buy good food. To buy good organic food is too much money. I'll tell you what, listen to this. If you're buying less food,
Costs less money.
you're spending less money. The healthier you eat, the less you're eating, the less money you're spending on food. You'll say, well, it's too boring to eat this way. It's the most exciting way to eat. There's so many different varieties of food out there. It's not boring. People say, well, you know, I don't have the time to make this food. It's right from nature. If you don't have time to pick an apple off a tree, something is wrong. People say, well, I got to drive to that tree. So drive to the tree. You drive to the supermarket. You live in a tropical paradise out here with all these fruits right off the trees. Mango season coming, fruits right on the trees and so on. But people don't have time to do that. They'll go to the supermarket and pass all these trees, you know, but they won't go and get it from the greatest supermarket in the world, the coconut tree right next to your house. We need to understand that. But then the greatest excuse people have is say, well, you know, I know you're telling us to eat less, but I love to eat. Well, if you eat less, you live longer and you'll get to eat more.
Just take longer.
We need to understand the higher the quality of the food, the less we need of it. The higher the quality of the food, the less we need. I don't need a lot at all. Do not need a lot of food. You know, just like Yeshua said, my nutrition comes from His Word. The food comes, the stimulation to just keep me going for the next couple hours. The nutrition comes from His Word. You know, you see people that have struggling with fasting. These people in a health retreat, they'll go for a fast and they'll struggle with it. I have struggling. But what about people going on a spiritual fast? They have no problem fasting. No problem. Nourishment comes from His Word. However, they don't have the knowledge, so they'll eat. They'll go the whole day without eating, and they'll stuff their face at nighttime saying, I'm fasting. They don't have the knowledge. You know, so we need to get right with His Word and understand, and people are overeating, and we have to stop overeating. We have to show temperance. The next thing is, and the biggest thing is, and I believe this is the biggest sin we commit on a daily basis, because we commit it 7 to 9 times a day, and this is a sin that is most people's downfall. We make an idol out of our food. We make an idol out of our food. When your food becomes more important than His Word, you're making an idol out of your food. You're making your God your belly. And this is what we suffer for. As important as food is, nothing's more important than His Word. We look at this over and over again and we see the importance of this. We cannot make an idol out of our food. You know, here's a great example. If somebody says, I know what your favorite meal is, and I know where your favorite restaurant is, and next Monday night I'm going to take you there. So don't eat the whole day because we're going to get ready and we're going to go there. And you're all excited and say, I can't wait to go there. And you wait the whole week and you're waiting for it and you're excited. And then we drive up to the restaurant and it says on the sign, closed for emergency right on the door. And we said, oh darn it, I was looking all week for that. I was looking forward to that. When is the last time you got that disappointed by missing a scriptural reading? When is the last time it affected you like that? People put food more important than the Word. We need to understand Yahweh has to always be on top. That's what the first commandment says. And we can't forget that. And we can't reject that. But that's what people are making happen. We look at people other than Yeshua that taught about Scripture and taught about the Torah. We look at Moses as a great example for us when it comes to living according to Torah and being healthy for it. Now Moses lived to 120 years old. This man wasn't in a hospital at 119 living on life support. This man was climbing mountains.
Yes.
This man was climbing mountains. And we have to understand something here. Moses is a more practical role model for us because the first time Yahweh came to Moses and told him to do something, he said no. He said, I don't want to. He pleaded with Yahweh, send somebody else, please. Please don't send me, I don't want to go. But Yahweh told him again. He said, no, please. But then he got right. He said, you know what? If you're telling me 2 or 3 times, you must be, you know, I'm going to listen. And he got right with his word. That sounds like many to us. Well, he's more of a practical role model. We look at another role model. We look at Noah. Noah is a great role model because Noah was a man that lived for Yahweh. I mean, when Noah came off the ark, you know, the first thing he did, he made sacrifices to Yahweh.